Guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety. My guest today is an international speaker, forensic scientist, business strategist, personal and professional development trainer, addiction and mental expert. Please welcome in the one, the only Dr. Shanea Clancy. How are you doing today?
Pete, I am well. Thank you. Super excited to be here
By
today.
the way, Dr. Clancy is also a #1 international best-selling author who brings passion and purpose to every stage she steps on. So Dr. Clancy and I decided we're going to talk about mindset mastery. So she's got a very limited time. So we're going to call this a bite-sized edition of Pete's vs. Anxiety. So Dr. Shayna, if there's anything that we don't know about you right now, you can let us know really quick and then we'll jump into the topic.
I like to jump out of airplanes. I'm a mountaineer and I love to empower people.
That's awesome. So mindset mastery, what is it that we all need to know about mastering our mindsets?
Mastering mindset is absolutely crucial to any kind of development, whether that's personal or professional, especially because if we don't have the right mindset, we could be missing out on a lot of things that we could add value to and people in our lives because it's just that important to be able to execute and just flourish.
So why do you feel like people don't have a great mindset? Is it just because the way they're raised or is it just society itself?
So there could be a combination. It could be the way someone's raised, society, the way that they view themselves. Oftentimes, I just focus on the limiting beliefs. It doesn't necessarily have to be discussed where they come from.
Hmm.
Can be if that person's comfortable, but it's really about canceling those limiting beliefs and coming up with a positive way to increase that mindset and motivation.
So when you say limiting beliefs, maybe you give people some examples what they are. Maybe they'll not realize that they're doing that to themselves right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't. I didn't until I started to actually figure, and work through things. A limiting belief could be that I can't do that.
Yeah,
And you
you hear
could
that one a lot too.
switch
A lot of
that
people say
to,
that too.
yeah, that I am capable, I am smart, and I can do hard things would be a really good way to kind of switch that gear a little bit.
So what got you into this whole practice of mindset? Because obviously you said yourself you didn't know until you started discovering it. What gave you that idea, like that light bulb moment? You're like, whoa, hey, hold on. This may be a great idea to help other people with their mindsets.
Yes, my aha moment was after a really bad vehicle crash, and I really hated myself, quite frankly, and had put these limiting beliefs internally. They were coming externally at an exponential rate. And it wasn't until I realized, hey, I do have value. I do have purpose. I have a mission. I don't know what that looks like right now. And I'm just trying to get out of that dark spot of the unknown. And that was really my moment that I had to start making a shift internally, which then came with the mindset component.
Yeah, I feel that completely. I get that because you hear a lot of people say, "Well, I can't do that," and I always tell them, "No, no, we don't know those negative thoughts here. Don't bring those negative thoughts in." And that's a lot of times what I refer to it as. It's just like, "Hey, no negative thoughts here. We don't need this. I can't. I can." You don't know until you try. And I think that's what a lot of people's thing is. Like, they're so easily discouraged when it comes to things. They're like, "Oh, well, I can't do this," and then as soon as they say, "I can't," it's like, "No, we don't need that negative thought, man. You need to stop doing that kind of thing."
Yeah, you bring up a really great point. And I would challenge your audience with that because that's our knee-jerk reaction when we hear somebody say, I can't do this. Yes, you can. But in their reality, they can't. And what that is technically called when we say that to somebody is cheerleading. And it kind of can discredit where that person is in that moment and what they really believe about themselves. So it's kind of, a little bit exploration. Tell me a little bit more about why you feel that way.
Yeah, I think this is a good question. I ask him, why does you feel like you're limiting yourself doing that by going, well, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I'm not good enough for this. It's like, have you tried? And I think that's the next question a lot of people ask him is like, well, have you tried? No, then how are you going to tell yourself you can't do something if you've never tried to do it? I mean, like, how are you going to say that? Well, I can't do this. Well, how? How do you know? Like, why is it that you feel this way? And do you know why? Do you have any idea why people feel that way though? A lot of people, that's their next thing is, well, I haven't tried it yet, but I know I can't do it. Is it just because that's the way they're raised?
Oftentimes, it has a lot to do with fear,
Oh, okay.
fear of failure, but also fear of success is what I've seen in coaching people and doing trainings. That's
Wasn't it interesting though? Their fear of being successful and their fear of failure. It's kind of weird. I feel like people want to succeed at what they're doing. Isn't it usually referred to as imposter syndrome a little bit too for the success side.
Yeah, it absolutely can be imposter syndrome. It can also be people realize the weight that comes with success and being in that kind of elevated or leadership executive type position.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
Pressure.
I suffer from that a little bit myself when I started booking this show originally, because when I first initially posted the idea, I did not expect the response I got. I got like 150 messages. I was like, my phone I thought it was going to explode how fast it was going
I
off. It's like,
know.
oh God, God. I'm like, this
Wow.
thing just keeps shaking. So this show has been booked to the end of the year from the beginning of its conception, September 15th of last year.
That's
November,
amazing.
we hit 2025 in November for July, and now we're officially booking all the way into December now. And it's still so
Wow. Good
surreal for me
for
because people
you.
are like, "Oh, you're in December." I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm in December. But I get that though. I get that understanding, because it's like, when it comes to podcasting too, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to fail. I'm like, well, how do you know people don't want to hear what you have to say? Or they go, oh, well, there's everybody else has the same topic I do. Yeah, but they don't have the same voice. They don't have the same personalities you do. Like, that's the great thing about what we do as podcasters. It's like everybody has their own opinion. This way you can express it your own way. So like every interview you go into, it's not always the same. Like I'll literally watch a lot of the interviews for other people. I'm like, all right, let's stay away from these conversations. Let's not ask them like this. Let's give them a more relaxed setting. So that's when I decided to do this show like that. It's just like it's a casual conversation between me and an expert or me and somebody else sharing their story. That way they feel comfortable. Like this is a safe space for them to come in and share whatever they want. And like they don't get judged here because I don't judge people. I have my own past traumas. People have their own traumas, and people's stories tend to touch each other's hearts and things like that too. So, and I did see the skydiving picture, by the way. I don't know if I'd have enough guts to do that, by the way. I think,
It's definitely, exhilarating, that's for sure. It's a little to play on your podcast, it's a little anxiety ridden at first as
God,
well.
I believe it. Yeah. And it's like that every time you hit record, too. It's like you get in the conversation, you just don't know where that conversation is going to take you. I did want to highlight, though, I did see on one of your social posts your new book that came out. Did you want to touch on that a little bit?
Pete, refer to which one? Because they're coming
Mm.
and going. I have quite a few
The one
coming
where
out. Do you
your
remember
your
which one?
children are excited to see in the library. That's the last post I saw when I was looking at.
Oh, yes. So there is Transforming Trauma into Triumph. That's my testimony. And that really is at the heart of the question you asked me is what was my aha moment? That is like the pretty raw truth. Then there is Believe Beyond, which is a compilation book that I was in. And then there is From Pain to Purpose. So, yes, I donated those 3 to the local library, and my kids, they freaked out when they went in and saw my books because 'cause they're 7, 5, and 3. "Mom's on the bookshelf." I'm like, "You can be too."
Right, that's so cool though. I mean, to see it's there, and then they've seen it, they're excited too. And all you're doing is sharing your story. And the first one is your whole book about is you're talking about your aha moments. Did you think it was gonna be as successful as it was? Because I know a lot of people I ask them that question. A lot of people are like, no, man, I didn't realize the biggest uproar was that people responding back saying, oh my God, thank you for sharing this was a lot of times what people tell everyone.
I did not, but I knew that if the book could help at least one person, that I was answering the call. But it has opened a lot of doors and conversations, folks out of the woodwork, right? People just wanna be related and be really relatable, and
Mm.
so I think that that really just helped people feel seen, heard, validated.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do want to be validated. And I know that goes with a lot of the mindset thing too. It's like they come to you and go, well, how can you help me, get my mindset right? Do you have any tips for anybody at home listening?
I do. Tips and tricks, love them. So a couple nuggets for your audience would definitely be, take that internal inventory. Just kind of see, like, what those beliefs might be. If you're hearing, like, negative, 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 right? Our thoughts becomes our words becomes our actions. And so starting with, like, that piece is really, important. You could even just write it down. Some people do better if you write down what your goals are and what is stopping you from reaching that goal, kind of like drawing that line down the middle. And that's kind of like the barrier, right? So, how are we going to get across to the goal? Another thing would be just affirmations. You can even say positive things or affirmations in your head. They're completely different when you say them out loud because now you've put that muscle memory to it and putting them, like, on your mirror or your rear view mirror. Like, don't block the whole mirror, right? Because you don't wanna get
I'm glad you
rear-ended.
clarified that because I'm thinking, oh God, someone's going to put the whole thing like, well, doctor, say it.
Right?
She's
They'll
going
be
to
like,
like,
"She
no, she
said."
didn't. She didn't say that.
Just put it in places that are common. I mean, on the fridge, wherever. Some you're gonna be in the fridge throughout
Yeah.
the day. So, just to see that and to kinda set that tone for the day or when those hard moments hit.
So let me give you a scenario. Say somebody comes to you and they're like, well, they're one of those type of people that are like, woe is me, everything's going wrong for me. What advice would you have for them?
The advice piece is tricky, right? Because what I would do is I would wanna know the why. Like,
Hmm.
just elicit more of that information. It's really hard to people aren't receptive to advice at first.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I get
if
that.
I'm just meeting with somebody and start giving advice, they're gonna be like, "Well, who is she, and how does she know?" And she doesn't understand.
Yes.
So, a lot of times it's just about, like, figuring out having that basic conversation, building rapport, and then if it gets to an opportunity when I'm working with my coaching clients, if I can see that they're kind of seeing the light a little bit, I always ask permission.
Yeah.
Are you open to? Are you okay with? Because I think that trauma informed approach is absolutely crucial to give the person on the other side the autonomy to say, no, I really don't want that right now. I'm not in the right mind space to accept that. Or, yes, I'm open to having that discussion. So that's one of the other pieces I think is absolutely crucial to
I
being,
think you did well there because I tried to
yeah.
trip you up there for a second to see how you
Did you?
responded. But you're like, you caught it up. You're like, no, wait, hold on, wait. We don't just jump into this kind of thing. I love it though because I was like, that just so it means that you know your stuff. It's like you have to build that rapport. I agree though. I think that's great because if you don't, like, it's like that is the mindset. You're coming to most times you see people, you're like, well, how can I trust you? What is it that you know that I don't know? It's like, listen, first off, I've been doing this for a while, but let me sell it to you, and you almost have to like sell yourself to somebody like, hey, listen, this is what I can do for you and get them on board to be on the same set, like be okay with telling you what exactly the problems are, and I think that's the hardest part when it comes to a lot of that stuff is people are so reserved because they're like, well, I don't know you, what can I do? There's so much misinformation out there now too with the LD. That's why people don't think take advice so well, because you have Timmy Tommy on the internet telling people that don't do this or don't do that, and it's like people don't ask the question, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, that they don't check credentials. It's like, well, who the hell are you giving me advice? Like, who are you? First off, like these people you see, it's like you see all these wonderful, great posts. These guys, like the ones that recently been seeing, these guys like fearmonger food to people. And the reason it comes to mind is it's like always on my Instagram feed, it's always some dude with no shirt on in a grocery store. And first off, like, put a shirt on. Like, I don't care about all that. It's so funny because it's like everybody has advice, but nobody's asking the correct questions. Like, who the hell are you giving me advice? What are your credentials? Like that's what you should be asking people. Like, hey, so what's your background that you've given me this advice? That's great. You have an opinion, but what do you have to back that opinion? Like, are you a doctor? And you'll find out most of these guys don't know anything. They're just talking. Like one guy, what do you say? Water? You shouldn't drink water for some reason. And I was just like, oh God, please stop
What?
talking, dude.
Your
Yes,
body's like 97% water.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? The guy interviewing him, I'm like, I'm surprised and go, like, wait, what? What did you just say to me? The
Wow.
internet's a great place, but at the same time, I feel like some people just need to be told to shut up. Like, stop talking, please stop saying anything. And I'm sure you see that all the times. Let me ask you a question. I normally ask my guests later on in the show. The stigma around mental health itself, is there something you see out there that you're just like, hey, listen, you need to stop right now? What would that be if you had to pick anything that you can think of?
Stop acting like you have the answer, um, and not reaching out for help, because those are the 2 things. Stuck in your head, you don't have the answer, right? It's like the attic and all the cobwebs, like, let's get out of there. And then not asking for help is keeping you stuck in your head and with all the cobwebs. Those would be the 2 things.
I want to comment about not asking for help. Do you have any idea, like maybe just a thought of why you think people don't ask for help? Why are we so afraid to ask people for help? Is it the fear of like, does it go back to that fear thing that they're afraid that, oh, you can't help me? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to, therapy in general. It's like one therapist may not work for you. That's okay. But there's somebody out there that fits what you need.
Fear of judgment, I would say, and maybe just not being ready. And I'm going to share this in full transparency. I did treatment for PTSD back in like 2007, 2008, after that crash that I had mentioned. And that was a game changer. Was I in the correct mindset? No, but I knew I needed something, right? And so I actually just recently restarted I swear it's been like 20 years almost, maybe, since I have connected with somebody. And it was because I was ready. I knew I needed to make a change. And when I was ready, put my all into it. So I would say that's those two things. If you're not ready, you're going to lip service whatever
Mhm.
you need to do to get through those sessions. But it's that core work that's going to really change
I
your life.
absolutely love the authenticity right there. If you're just being honest with people, because I think a lot of people think like when they meet a therapist, like, oh, well, they don't have problems, things like this. It's like a lot of people do. Like you do, you'd be amazed. I think people are quick to judge people. Is what I'm thinking of. Is we know it's how we always always read somebody's situation. We don't know what it is, so we judge it. Oh, well, that person is crazy, but it may not be that they're crazy. Maybe they're dealing with something you just don't understand what they're dealing with. And
Or they
and
don't
like
know how to put it into words.
Mhm. That too, And it's like a lot of times people see it, they're just quick to make all these comments and these quick judgments and things like that. Doing this podcast, I've learned a lot of things to look out for and things I'm looking for. I'm seeing things. So I don't look at everything from the same perspective everybody else does. Like somebody like, oh yeah, they're crazy. But are they really? I don't think they are. I think maybe there's something deeper on the deeper level than that. And I'm very understanding because a lot of people tell me a lot of stuff. Like I've done over 150 of these interviews, and the things that I've been told, I couldn't even begin to tell you. There's some wild moments we've had on this show. Like literally, we've had suicidal ideation come up. We literally had a guy tell us the morning of the interview he thought about taking his own life and was describing the moment to us, and I'm just like, okay, here we go, guys. We're about to take a wild ride. I'm not ready for this, but it's just those things that you get into being in this space that I'm in now, which I love it because it's bringing awareness. And I deal with imposter syndrome a lot too. Like I said, though, it's a lot of it's like people come up to me randomly and go, "Hey, listen, I love what you're doing." And I'm like, "Wait, you're listening to my show? How can my own family members listen to this show?" And they're like, "Oh, you sound so intelligent." I'm like, "Do I though? Or is it just I had thoughts you didn't hear?" Because I suffer from that
Listen.
middle child thing. So I felt like I wasn't heard a lot as a kid. So now this is my space to speak and do say everything else I want to say.
Should bring MySpace back to play on your words. I miss MySpace. Come on, Pete, bring it back.
Let's go. Bring back MySpace, or what is it? Yeah, MySpace. That's right. Yeah, MySpace. Let's bring back our little MySpace pages, dude. Like just for us '90s kid. Everybody else, y'all can have your Facebooks and everything else. Let's
Right.
have MySpace back. You can keep your TikToks and all that other. You can keep all that stuff. You're good to go. So because
Yep.
like I said, though, with the internet, it's great, but at the same time, there's so many different sources of people just jumping in and sharing their opinion, which I wish half of them wouldn't. But that's just me. Okay. But
It's also that keeping up with the Joneses, right? So when you talk about
mhm,
mental health and suicidal ideation, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but this is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, September, and it's also Overdose Awareness Month. So they go very much hand in hand when you think about it. But yeah, it's just people just are struggling, and more so when you look at social media with keeping up with the Joneses and everybody
mhm.
looks polished and like they have their life together, but behind closed doors, they're crumbling or they're doing really good at work, but they come home to their home life and like it's chaos. So, what does that balance really look like for that person?
Yeah, yeah. I think that, with social media too, the addiction of, scrolling through, it's hard for people. So like, I unplug a lot of times is what I call it. I don't go on my phone after 5 o'clock. Usually I'm not answering any messages after five unless it's something I need to address, then it's a different story. But usually five till I go to work. Because I work nights, so I go five. So 9:30, I usually go to work. So like 5 to 9, I'm usually gone. And I'm not on the thing at all. I'm not even looking at it at all. And then when I work, I hardly ever look at it either. And it helps because I was addicted. Like I got that need for like TikTok is the worst one of all. While we're on the subject really fast, it's like those. Oh, everybody's live. This was live. It's like you feel like that need, like you're gonna have to show up or you're gonna miss out. And I'm like, yeah, I'd stop showing up. And people are like, oh, where have you been? Well, I've unplugged. I'm just tired. I can't do it anymore. And then some days my depression's just bad. It's like I'll get up, do this show, and then I'll go back to being miserable. And then that's just how it works for me. And I just, I know a lot of people want to send those like words of encouragement. Some days I just don't want
Some
to
days
hear it.
you just want them to get in the hole with you.
All right,
Just
come join
bring
me.
some tea, bring some coffee. Let's just be together down here in the hole and then like let's work our way up. Yeah. It takes a lot of energy to do these shows, right? You got to put whatever face on to get on
Yeah.
the camera and then that's emotionally draining afterwards. It's almost like
God.
that
Well, we
high
could we
that
could
drop.
talk about the last few days. So, The other day, I spent 11 hours for everybody that's listening to drop everything else for season one I had. I had like 40 plus episodes. So the month of September is just an overload of just dropping episodes. So everything in September will clear out season one. Season two premieres October 6th, actually, which I have two interesting conversations. And then the next one, which is my Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, would be October. I'm trying to think what the next one after that is. Either it's October 6th, and then whatever the next one after that is. I do have a suicide topic though. Comes out with a woman who shares a story about her husband who and unfortunately took his life, and then what she's doing since then. And I think during the conversation, she got really interesting when she explained it. How did she explain it to the kids? She told the kids that she explained it to them in colors. I thought this was great the way she explained it to these younger kids. She was like, "Well, Daddy was seeing black, like we see all these bright colors and things like this too. But Dad was seeing black, but he saw the light a little bit at the end, and he decided to go towards the light versus trying to get out of the darkness." I think is how she explained it, but she explained it really well, like using colors for kids. And I thought that was really interesting the way she approached it because I was like, now you have to tell these kids. Unfortunately, Dad had done that, and a lot of people don't know that either. Like some of my guests have had on they've even said they didn't know their dad or mom or whoever had taken their life and things like that until later on, and then they're like, well, why didn't you tell me sooner? And they go through that whole phase of that, the guilt phase of like, oh God, well, why didn't you tell me sooner about this? Because it's hard when it comes to that subject.
Yeah, hard topics are hard, but people wanna know. Earlier the better. If you withhold that information, it's like, "Are you gonna tell me the truth in the future?" Do you know what I mean?
So, real quick, while we have a few minutes to touch on it, then for Suicide Awareness Month, do you have any tips for anybody? Anybody like anything they should know now? That way, because I will release this in September, then for sure. Because we are talking about this, I want people to see this. So it definitely, I'll figure out a time here this month. I'll let you know. But we are definitely dropping this in September. But do you have any advice for anybody for what they could do?
It's the first thing is reach out even though that's the hardest.
Hmm.
If you have, like, any kind of history or even, like, postpartum depression, even anxiety, I like to call them a lot of people call them safety plans, right? But just have some kind of game plan, whether that's, like, who you can call, who your
Hmm.
friend is, put that phone number in, what are some things that you typically like to do, and just write them down. Also, take, like, a picture and keep it in your phone. I like both because what if your phone dies? And then you're like, "Okay, I don't know what to do." But having that game plan in place is really important. That way, when things hit the fan, and it's not if, it's when, right? That's the reality of life. Who can you lean into and what do those resources look like? I would also like to put a plug in for 988. There's
Hmm.
still a ton of folks that have no idea about 988. So that's the National Suicide Prevention and Crisis Line. But you don't have to be suicidal to call it. A crisis to
There you
you
go. You
is
beat me to
different
it.
than a crisis to me. You're not getting med, you're not being heard, you're about to lose your house. Like, call 24/7, 365. And if you're a vet, all you have to do is press one and it goes to the Veterans Crisis Line. And so those folks are trained specifically for veteran population.
I absolutely love how you went and said that it's not just for suicidal people. If you're having an extreme situation, call them. Because I think a lot of people hear that and they're just like, well, I'm not suicidal, so I'm not going to call. No, no. 988, if you're having a problem, these guys are trained. They're ready to go for this one. Guys, and as we start wrapping up here, I know Dr. Shea's got to be somewhere else. So we're gonna start wrapping up. So Dr. Shea, the last question I have for you is if your mental health had a song, what would this song be?
That's a really cool question, Pete.
This goes credit to my friend Gretchen who runs a podcast called "The Shit That Goes On in Our Heads." She asked me during my interview, and so I've stole it now and I'm using it a lot because it's great to hear people's responses.
First thing that came to my head is It's a Beautiful Day by who is that? New Radicals?
Hmm. Oh no, wait,
That would yeah,
beautiful day. Is that
yeah.
YouTube or is that New
No,
Radicals?
maybe it's you too. Listen, I just know this song.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day is
It's
YouTube.
a
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful
I'm trying to
day
think of
or
that
you
one.
don't give up, you only get what you give, that song.
No,
Um,
that's the New Radicals. You're right, New Radicals. Yep, yep.
okay.
Okay,
And
my
then
bad.
this anybody that's listening to this episode, check out Alex Boyer, Boya, and he has an amazing song for Suicide Prevention Awareness Month,
Heck yeah.
and it will get tissues. It will rock your soul.
Definitely. All right. Well, Dr. Shea, we're getting ready to wrap up right now. Did you want to plug where everyone can find you? What's the best way to reach you? Say they want to get a hold of you. What's the best way you say reach out?
All my socials at Shanea Clancy.
She's everywhere,
Can
guys.
attest to this. Just keep it raw. If you need a laugh, my kids are probably doing something crazy. But also my website, shaneaclancy.com, which is finally getting a facelift. So you might like that a little better too.
And mind you guys, she's every single place possible. I could tell you because I've seen them all. I've been visiting them all. TikTok, X, all the way down to Instagram. This woman is every place you can think of, guys. And go check her out. You know, let her know you saw her on this little bite-sized piece of Pete versus Anxiety. And Dr. I wanted to thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you being here. I know we only had a short, limited time, but it was a great time, though. I enjoyed it. I think we had a real great time doing this, and we'll definitely have to maybe do this again and figure out a new topic to talk about.
For sure. We'll look at December
Okay,
though.
guys. He said, I'm Pete versus Anxiety. I'm on X all the way down to TikTok. Yes, I'm everywhere. I'm like Visa, everywhere you want me to be. I'm on Spotify all the way down to iHeartRadio. And as I always say, costs nothing, absolutely nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act you could do can save someone's life, or hell, you can make their day. I'm Pete versus Anxiety signing off saying, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health today?
So bad, everything flawed, you're breaking my neck. It's a sign of respect, there's a knife for death. But never die for the price of a check. I got my integrity and my word. I'd rather die than death and burn. My respect you'll have to earn, but I don't think I wait my